All right, hey yo guys, this is Cobra Awesome, and I'm back with another rant video as always. As I promised you all, I'm going to be doing a rant talking about Nick Jr. I already talked about the schedule yesterday for Nick Jr., and the schedule is absolutely atrocious. It's unbelievable. So I'm gonna do a rant talking about Nick Jr. But before I start this rant video, I wanted to say thank you all for 1K subscribers, and I promise that there is going to be a lot more videos to come, especially on the rant, just to celebrate with you guys. But thank you so much for 1K subscribers. That means a lot to me. It's motivating me to keep my channel going even after 10 years now. So thank you very much for 1K subscribers. All right, so where to start with Nick Jr. now? Where to start with Nick Jr.? Um, so Nick Jr. started way back in 1977 as a block on Nickelodeon, focused on preschoolers and educating kids, all that stuff, right? So as for me, I grew up watching Nick Jr., right? When Blue's Clues first started, I I was born during that time and I watched Blue's Clues a whole lot. It was my show. I watched it all the time as a kid, and I watched other shows like Dora the Explorer, The Backyardigans, Little Bear, Little Bill, Max and Ruby, Lazy Town, and so many great preschooler shows, right? So nowadays Nick Jr., like I don't care for Nick Jr. because I'm an adult right now and this is not for me. This is for the newer kids. But I feel like back then Nick Jr. was a better block before it got its own channel. Like the old Nick Jr. was like so much better than the new Nick Jr. now. So so after I saw the schedule yesterday for Nick Jr., it is absolutely atrocious. Like there's like 6 hours of Bubble Guppies and Paw Patrol, and it, there's no variety, right? But as I said, like Nick Jr. is not for me. It's for the newer kids. But the schedule is horrible. And this is the first time I'm talking about Nick Jr. because I never talked about Nick Jr. before. But based on the schedule I saw yesterday, it had to be talked about. And you guys had requested me to do a rant video of me talking about Nick Jr. So Nick Jr. is trash nowadays. But as I said, it's not for me. I'm an adult. I don't care for this stuff. But back then, Nick Jr. was awesome because they had so many great shows, and the shows made sense and it educated you and it entertained you when you were a kid. But these newer shows doesn't have that, okay? The only good show that's on Nick Jr. that's popular right now is Paw Patrol and Bubble Guppies, and that's it. Um, Blue's Clues is not even on there anymore. Not even the spinoff like Blue's Clues and You. That's not even there. Dora the Explorer is not even there anymore. None of those old Nick Jr. shows from back then are not even on Nick Jr. nowadays. Not anymore. So I mean, you could catch it on stream and like the old shows and stuff like Dora the Explorer, but it's not on the Nick Jr.'s channel anymore. But so as I said, like Nick Jr. started as a block on Nickelodeon before it got its own channel. But back then it was Noggin, right? So Noggin was the same thing as Nick Jr. with the preschooler shows. And I would say that Noggin was a better channel back then, um, before Nick Jr. because they have a variety of the shows and they aired all the good like preschooler shows. Let's not forget Gullah Gullah Island. Who remembers that show? Cause my sister used to watch it all the time. It came on. It came on at midnight, like 4 o'clock a.m. Like you know what I mean back then. So yeah, so Nick Jr. was a special like program for kids back then, like us who grew up with it. Blue's Clues was my number one favorite show on Nick Jr. before I got into SpongeBob, and there was other show like Blue's Clues was like my very first show I got into. even before Cartoon Network, Blue's Clues was my thing. I watched it all the time. I had like the VHS tapes. I had like a Blue's Clues had, and I had like a lot of Blue's Clues merchandise. Like I had the games and all that stuff. So so Nick Jr. nowadays suck. So and one of you guys comment on my last video of me talking about the schedule for Nick Jr., which was atrocious. One of you guys had commented and said that do you, like you guys reminded me about the blog that Nick Jr. used to have back then. It was called NickMom, right? So and I completely forgot about that blog, to be honest with y'all. I completely forgot about it. So NickMom was a nighttime block on Nick Jr., right? It's kind of like remember like Noggin, and they and during the nighttime they changed it to the end. Remember that? So Nick Jr. had the block called Nick Mom, and that block like focused on like adult sitcom shows, mostly on women, and they had like stand up comedy of women talking and stuff like that. And it started back in 2012 and it ended in 2015. So the block didn't last that long because the block was eventually shut down because of controversy and the low ratings because nobody did not give a f about this block, and that was Nickelodeon's biggest mistake by putting that block on Nick Jr. because Nick Jr. at the time was supposed to be a 24-hour channel for kids. So I don't know why would they put an adult like block on that preschooler channel. It didn't make any sense. It's not even like it was Cartoon Network, but this is different. So it just didn't make any sense. So and I do remember like one time I saw Nick Mom, and I remember seeing like the one of the stand up comedy shows they had with the women, with one of the women talking about something. And at the time, like my little niece and my nephews, they were into Nick Jr. They were watching like Dora the Explorer and all that stuff, like Paw Patrol. So I do remember like my sister like had changed the channel because like it was like some inappropriate stuff based on the Nick Mom block, right? So, and as I said about the whole controversy, yeah, the block became controversial because a lot of parents were complaining about this block being on Nick Jr. and they wanted their kids to watch something for their age, like watch like Bubble Guppies and stuff. So yeah, so Nick Mom was like the biggest mistake that Nickelodeon did for Nick Jr. Like Nick Mom was just trash, complete trash. And the thing was that I forgot about it. And thank you to one of my subscribers who reminded me about it because I completely forgot about Nick Mom. So yeah, I just wanted to get that out of the way because that was the biggest mistake that Nickelodeon did at the time by putting that block on Nick Jr. So so Nick Jr. like as I said, like I don't care because as an adult, like I don't care for these shows, But back then, like I grew up with Nick Jr. and I grew up watching these shows, and the promos and the bumpers and the shows they had back then was so good and awesome. You know what I mean? But now it just doesn't feel the same. So yeah, so Nickelodeon is just destroying everything that they touch. Like they destroying Teen Nick, they're destroying Nick Jr., they're destroying Nicktoons. They're just completely killing themselves every single day. And I'm surprised that they're not dead already. Like it's a shame. Because all their focus is on all their focus is nothing but SpongeBob. That's it, just SpongeBob, SpongeBob, SpongeBob. Man, Nickelodeon is killing me these days. So so yeah, so I feel like Noggin back then was 10 times better than Nick Jr. Like I think Noggin was a better channel than Nick Jr. I mean, when Nick Jr. came as a channel back in 2009, it was pretty good, right? But then a few years later, it had changed, and Paw Patrol became a thing, and then the Nick Mom was a yeah. So yeah. but Noggin was a better channel back then before Nick Jr. So, and Nick Jr. is still a block on Nickelodeon, and it's still the same old thing. So nothing has changed. So, so yeah. So Nick Jr. sucks. As I said, it's not for me, but it's for the newer kids. But I did grow up watching Nick Jr. and Blue's Clues was my show, and Blue's Clues is not even on Nick Jr. anymore. So, oh well. So, so that's my rant on Nick Jr. So this is my first time talking about Nick Jr. I never talked about Nick Jr. before, so here you go. So as I promised, I was gonna do a rant video talking about Nick Jr. So post a comment down below and let me know how you feel about Nick Jr. these days. Did you grow up watching Nick Jr. when you were a kid? Tell me your memories. I want to hear all about it. But Nick Jr. sucks, especially when I saw the schedule yesterday. Trash, garbage. So yeah. So please be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys, 1K for 1K subscribers. Appreciate it, and that means a lot. Thank you. Love you all. Take care.